Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Just small repetition from the yesterday lecture. Disorders of white blood cells. This may be in the form of leukopenias, less number of white cells, or maybe high TLC proliferative disorder. These may be reactive or neoplastic. We have discussed different types of neoplastic proliferations. This may be lymphoid neoplasm, myeloid neoplasm, histiocytosis. Now today we will discuss the lymphoid neoplasms. Now this is the classification. We have yesterday discussed this classification of lymphoid neoplasm. With more detail, maybe you can see from your books. WHO classification. Now this is the most important disease in the lymphoid neoplasm, precursor B and T cell neoplasm, acute lymphoblastic leukemia or lymphoma. I have told you previously these were treated as two different entities, but now with more modern investigation, cytochemical stains, immunological markers, now they have decided that these are the same diseases. What is the stage of cell development which is getting transformation into malignant cell, that is more important for the treatment. So now leukemia will start in the bone marrow, come in the peripheral blood, then this will invade the liver, spleen, lymph nodes. Mostly lymphoma will start from some tissue, then this can invade the bone marrow, again this can come in the peripheral. This was the previous bit. Now they say this is same disease. What is the developmental stage of cell and what is the cell involved, this is more important for the treatment of these patients. Now ALL, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Malignant tumor of hematopoietic precursor cells of lymphoid lineage. Lineage or lineage, both types we can pronunciate. Incidence. This is the commonest malignancy in childhood, 3 to 10 years of age. This is the most common age group involved in this case. Most of the time this is B cell origin, immature B cells. These are the responsible cells. 85% of the cases are of B cell origin. Routinely in clinical practice this was known as common ALL. Majority of the patients are between age of 2 and 10 years. This is much more frequent in this age group than AML. AML, acute myeloid leukemia. These have very much resembling clinical features. We will be discussing these things. We have to differentiate these two different diseases because the treatment is different. So ALL, this is rare in adults. Some specific types of AL. This is TALL. 85% of the cases are B cell origin. There is known as common ALL. Maybe 12 to 15% these are T cell origin, pre-T cells are involved. This is known as TALL. In these patients, the peak age is between 15 to 24 years of age. In the young adults, when the thymus gets maximum size. Etiology, as for most of the tumors, we can say this is not exactly known. There are different factors in which these may be incriminated. The incidence is increased, ionizing radiations, Down syndrome, Fanconi anemia, chemicals, pollution, viruses. We have discussed these things before in etiology of neoplastic cells. Same factors we can say these are responsible for the causation of ALL. Now, for the pathogenesis of ALL or any malignancy, you must consider this picture. This is from Essential Hematology. Upper one, this is normal cell. Normally, proliferation of normal cells depends on a balance between the action of proto-oncogenes and tumor suppressor genes. Now, you can see from this picture in the top, some proteins, we call them proto-oncogenes. These are regulating the proliferation. They are also responsible for the regulation of apoptosis. Other proteins which are suppressing, inhibiting the proliferation of some cells, these are known as tumor suppressor genes. So we can consider these two types as just like the accelerator and brakes of a car. So normally we press the accelerator, we press the brakes, there is controlled speed for the vehicle, for the car. Now you can see this. What will happen? In a malignant cell, this balance is disturbed, leading to uncontrolled cell division. Normally this is balanced, controlled proliferation. Different factors like chemicals, radiations, drugs, viruses, or some changes in the chromosomes, translocations, deletions. So anything, this will result in some mutation in the genes, in the chromosomes, and then this balance is lost. This is the basic pathogenesis. For example, when as a result of this change in the genetic makeup, some mutation, due to any of these factors, this may be a multi-step phenomenon. I will explain in the next slide. Different mutations may be needed to reach this uncontrolled proliferation. Now, proto-oncogenes, they may have some change that their action is enhanced. Inappropriate expression of growth signals. Now the same proteins, we were calling them proto-oncogenes, now these are known as oncogenes. So this will result in excessive proliferation and failure of the apoptosis. Similarly, there may be some mutations which will result in some loss of function. Previous one was gain of function. That means proto-oncogenes are changed to oncogenes. They express some inappropriate, more active signals which are responsible for the proliferation. Opposite to this, tumor suppressor gene, due to these mutations, these may be inactivated. They were inhibiting, and brakes are failed. They were inactivating they were controlling the unneeded proliferation, but when these are inactivated, so result is the same: excess proliferation, failure of apoptosis. Now, you don't need to memorize all these things, but for your easy understanding, this will make this easier for you to understand your book. Just see this diagram carefully. There are different developmental stages: pro B, then pre B, then early B, then mature B, B lymphocyte. So in these developmental stages, we can recognize these cells from various immunological markers. You can see this very big arrow at the top. Heavy chain gene rearranged. So this starts from the very early stage till mature B cells. And this means this is present in all B lymphocytes in all developmental stages. Then kappa light chain gene rearranged, then lambda light chain rearranged, TDT, HLA-DR, again this is for all developmental stages. Then cytoplasmic in pre-B cells, then early B and mature B cells, surface immunoglobulin. Same immunoglobulin, IgM immunoglobulin, this will be within the cytoplasm in pre-B stage, then this will come on the surface immunoglobulin. So from these markers, you can see similarly CD10, this is present in pro-B and pre-B type, then this will be absent. CD19, we can say pan-B marker, then this will start from the very early stage to the mature B cells. CD20, same, most of the developmental, this is positive. PAX5, similarly CD79A. So from this picture, I want to just realize you that at different developmental stages, we can recognize these developmental stages on the basis of different immunological markers which will give a positive reaction in these cells. So we can pinpoint which cell is involved, this is B cell or T cell or myeloid cell, or what stage of development is getting this transformation. Now this is for T lymphocytes. The sequence of events during early T cell development. The earliest events appear to be the expression of surface CD7, intranuclear terminal deoxynucleotide transferase (TDT), call this, and intracytoplasmic CD3, followed by T cell receptor TCR gene rearrangement. Early elderly thymocytes express both CD4 and CD8, but they then lose one or other of these structures. This is same pre-T cell, then large cortical thymocyte, then small cortical thymocyte, then medullary thymocyte. Some of these markers are present in almost all the developmental stages, others are present in different developmental stages. So from these markers we can recognize that this cell belongs to T lineage and this is the developmental stage of this cell. Now from this picture you can see, just this is a theoretical graph to show the replacement of normal bone marrow cells by a clonal population of malignant cells arising by successive mitotic divisions from a single cell with an acquired genetic alteration. Normally there was a normal hematopoietic tissue. This was being produced in the bone marrow or hemopoietic cells. Then there is some somatic mutation. One cell gets transformed. Then this starts active proliferation, clonal expansion of new cell line. Active proliferation of these transformed cells by new plastic cell. They are so aggressive, they have some advantages, maybe they have some more receptors for the cell or some other unknown reasons. The result is that they will replace all the normal hemopoietic element and most of the bone marrow will be occupied by these malignant cells. So this is after clonal expansion of new cell line, the malignant cells will occupy the normal myeloid elements in the bone marrow. Another concept from your book, which this should be clear, this is maybe more clear from this diagram. So this is considered that the malignant change does not occur in one step. This is a multi-step phenomenon. Prenatal origin of acute lymphoblastic leukemia in a pair of identical twins. Now they have studied one identical twin. Both tumors had an identical translocation, T12 to 21 translocation. ALL was diagnosed in the first twin at age 5 years and in the second at age of 14 years, indicating probable origin of the leukemic clone in utero and dissemination to both twins via a shared placental blood supply. Because of the prolonged latency of the ALL, it is presumed that a secondary event is required to initiate the development of frank leukemia. At the time of diagnosis of ALL in a twin 1, the translocation 12 to 21, this could be detected in the bone marrow of twin 2 also. It is likely that such a fetal origin of childhood ALL occurs in a significant number of sporadic ALL cases. Now, from this picture you can see both twins have the same translocation, same mutation in the genes. There were some, this is supposed that there were some secondary events, some environmental factors that affected these babies and they got frank ALL at two different stages. Maybe, for example, patient number 1, he got malarial attack maybe before 5 years of age. This malarial attack caused some more change in the chromosomes and that resulted in frank leukemic proliferation. For the second twin, also he was having the same translocation, same genetic abnormality at the time of birth, but he was one way or the other, he was saved from this, he was saved from malaria. He got this attack at the age of 14. So then the events were completed, there was more change in the chromosome and then there was frank leukemic proliferation of the cell. So from this type of studies, they explain this multi-step origin of these neoplastic proliferations. Now, this table you can see some immunological markers for classification of acute lymphoblastic leukemia. You can see this marker for B cells, for T cells, both in ALL. B lineage, we have CD19 positive, CD22 positive, CD79A positive. So CD10 positive maybe in pre-B cells, immature B cells, this may be absent in mature B cells. Similarly, cytoplasmic immunoglobulins, any cytoplasmic immunoglobulin positive in pre-B cells, maybe surface immunoglobulin in some other mature cells. TDT is positive in both cases. Similarly, T lineage, we can see this TDT, terminal deoxynucleotide transferase, this is positive in B and T cells, and lymphoid lineage, in both cases, this is positive in 95% of the cases. Other markers are different. In T lineage, we may have CD7, CD3, CD2 positive, or TDT is positive in both cases. Now these are two different CD19, 22, CD79 for B cell origin, CD10 for pre-B cells. Similarly, you can see CD7, CD3, CD2 positive for T lineage cells. So on the basis of these immunological markers, we can identify the cell of origin and we can identify the developmental stage of the transformed cell. Now, how we can incidence? This is the commonest malignancy in childhood, 3 to 10 years of age. This is the most common age group involved in this case. Most of the time, this is B cell origin, immature B cells. These are the responsible cells. 85% of the cases are these are of B cell origin. Routinely in clinical practice, this was known as common ALL. Majority of the patients are between age of 2 and 10 years. This is much more frequent in this age group than AML. AML, acute myeloid leukemia. These have very much resembling clinical features. We will be discussing these things. We have to differentiate these two different diseases because the treatment is different. So ALL, this is rare in adults. Some specific types of AL. This is TALL. Yani 85% of the cases are B cell origin. There is only common ALL. Maybe 12 to 15% these are T cell origin. Pre-T cells are involved. This is known as TALL. In these patients, the peak age is between 15 to 24 years of age. In the young adults, when the thymus gets maximum size. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Just small repetition from the yesterday lecture. Disorders of white blood cells. This may be in the form of leukopenias, less number of white cells, or maybe high TLC proliferative disorders. These may be reactive or neoplastic. Now you can see this morphology. This is from your book. Upper portion A, you can see most of the cells, they have finely stippled delicate chromatin. You can see one or two nucleoli, small spots within the nucleus, a very little cytoplasm around these cells. These all are lymphoblasts. So this is the case of ALM. Now we have nowadays we have some special machine. I have discussed this. flow cytometry, we can see this type of picture. You can see this diagram B and C. So in B you can see most of the cells are in the secure, which gives this means they are giving a positive reaction for CD22, and also they are giving a positive reaction for TDT. In C, they are giving a positive reaction for CD19, and they are also giving a positive reaction for CD10. CD10 is CD22, CD19 means they belong to B lymphocytes. Positivity for CD10 indicates that these blast cells, they are pre-B cells, immature B cells. So they have CD10 positive. Now these are lymphocytes. Now you can see this in this picture of AML, acute myeloid leukemia. Similar blast cells, but they have bit larger cytoplasm, more prominent nucleoli, more number of nucleoli. So these are small differences. I will discuss these differences by comparison. We can differentiate to some extent between AML and ALL from the morphology of the blast cell. Clinical picture is very much resembling, but we have to confirm by cytochemical staining or some immunological markers. Now these are the differences in the morphology of the blast cells. You can see in ALL the size is smaller, in AML blasts are larger in size. Nuclear chromatin, this is condensed chromatin, relatively condensed chromatin in lymphoblast, and is more delicate, skin-like in the myeloblast. Nucleoli number is less, number 1, 0 to 2 and 2 to 5 in the myeloblast. Cytoplasmic granules are absent, and these may be present in the myeloblast. If we do these special stains, Sudan black, this will give a negative reaction in lymphoblast and positive reaction in myeloblast. PA stain, this may give a positive reaction in lymphoblast, or this will be negative in myeloblast. So these are the differences on the morphology. Or special, we call them Sudan black, myeloperoxidase, PAS. These are the stains. To differentiate these blast cells, we call them cytochemical stains. Now you can see this is Giemsa stain, routine staining, Giemsa stain or Liebknecht stain. You can see these two picture, ALL on left side, AML on right side. Lymphoblast, same. These are smaller in size as compared to myeloblast. Less number of nucleoli, less prominent nucleoli in lymphoblast as compared to the myeloblast. They have more prominent nucleoli, more number of nucleoli. Cytoplasm is scanty, less in quantity in lymphoblast. This is more in the myeloblast. In books, this is written N over C ratio, yani nuclear over cytoplasm. Yani in lymphoblast, this is N over C ratio is high, maybe 95% is occupied by the nuclear, only 5% is the cytoplasm, if we consider the total volume of the cell. But in case of myeloblast, maybe 60% is occupied by the nucleus and 40% may be the cytoplasm. So this is low, N over C ratio is lower in myeloblast as compared to lymphoblast. Simply this means that ALL very little cytoplasm, in AML with more cytoplasm. This is Sudan black stain. This is a positive, giving a positive reaction. That means these are myeloblasts, not lymphoblasts. This means this is a case of AML, not ALL. Now most of the blast cells, these are without this stain, so this gives a negative reaction for Sudan black stain. So another thing, that is immunophenotyping. I have told you we can do this from this machine flow cytometry. Before we were using some antibodies. Now this is a bit easier. Like hematology analyzer, we can purchase this machine and we can do this immunophenotyping very easily. So BALL, this will give positive reaction for CD, CD19, 22, CD10. I have shown you this before. TALL, this will be positive for TDT, but this will give a positive reaction for CD1, CD2, CD3 and CD7. So we can differentiate these two types on the basis of immunological markers. These are the changes in the chromosomes. These also guide us for the prognosis. What will be the effect of treatment? So I will discuss next slide. Hyperdiploidy means more number of chromosomes. Hypodiploidy, less number of chromosomes. T9 to 22 translocation, a part of the chromosome is translocated from 9 to 22. If this is positive, this means worst prognosis. T4 to 11, T1 to 19, T12 to 21, T12 to 21, this type of ALL have a good prognosis. Now, practically speaking, in our setup, this is something very serious disease. Patient will die within few days or months if untreated. But with now more modern chemotherapeutic agents, this is a big success story for these patients, for the malignancy. BALL, especially common ALL, which is seen in children. Now we can hope for treatment in these patients with combination chemotherapy. Now in your book is written that 95% of the patient can get complete remission, and maybe 75 to 85% these may be cured. This acute leukemia, this was considered a very aggressive disease, but nowadays we can hope for cure in these patients. But this is in very advanced setups. So for us, we should try to diagnose these patients as early as possible. We should get these CBC bone marrow aspiration done from some expert person as quickly as possible. Then what we can do, we must refer these cases as early as possible to some proper setup or some proper person who can manage these patients in a proper way. Thank you.